Now it's my time. Yeah, don't run too much. Let's wait, man.
Khamzat Chimaev, did he do enough in that fight against Robert Whittaker, who I thought looked incredible, to get the title fight against Dricus?
Yeah, he looked incredible. There's no doubt about it. He is deserving of a title shot.
I know he has some personal issues going on.
I have no information on that.
Do you want to, go after these title defense records? Do you want double champ status? What do you ultimately want your reign to be?
Yeah, listen, I want to do what is expected, because do I want double champ status? Absolutely. But I'm willing to earn that. If there's contenders that make sense, I don't want to fight contenders that doesn't make sense. Fighting Israel Adesanya makes sense. Fighting guys that deserve the title shots makes sense.
When you say contenders that don't make sense, do you mean fighters like Khamzat, who maybe haven't fought a middleweight ranks, because he's also tweeting like "see you soon" and referencing UFC 300?
Yeah, but he said that to John Jones, so I mean, who takes that guy seriously anyway?
We've seen him being as exhausted as anybody can be in a third round. This is a 5-rounder. Bring your first round. I am going to meet you in the middle, and we are going to wrestle. We can wrestle that first round, the whole first round. And then we come out in that second round and we'll see what we feel like. And we can wrestle you have around a minute left in that second round, and then we're going to fight my fight. Then we're going to wrestle on my terms, and then we're going to strike on my terms.
Khamzat Chimaev sparks UFC chaos with a cryptic message hinting at a title clash against Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 317.
Congratulations on your win. Wanted to get your thoughts on Dricus as a champion, his run so far, and what do you make of his grappling?
What do you think, guys? How I done with this guy, Rob? How he done? Rob took him down. So that is normally going for my victory. So it doesn't matter Sean or Dricus, just going for the gold. So we'll see what happens next. So I'm ready.
Is he good enough to defend the takedowns of Chimaev? Let's go further with it. Is he good enough to take Chimaev down? I've never seen Chimaev lose a stand-up fight. I want you to know how good Dricus is at a stand-up fight. Do you believe that Chimaev can tackle this man? Chimaev has gotten on top of everybody with no exception inside of 5 minutes. And you guys remember the Robert Whittaker fight. He came right across the ring, got him right down right away. Chimaev versus Dricus feels different. What a match. Dricus Du Plessis, world champion. It's not quite as obvious that he couldn't go with Alex Pierre. It's not quite as obvious as it felt. It's not quite as obvious that he can't go with Chimaev. Things feel very different right now.
Khamzat Chimaev appears to have thrown down the gauntlet in what could become one of the UFC's most explosive title fights of the year. With only 2 cryptic words, good news, he has stirred a storm of speculation online, hinting that a long-awaited middleweight championship bout against reigning champion Dricus Du Plessis is finally locked in. The timing of the post is no coincidence either. It comes just days after UFC president Dana White teased a blockbuster announcement tied to UFC 317, scheduled for June 28th during International Fight Week. All signs point to Chimaev versus Du Plessis headlining that card, and the MMA world is buzzing.
And any update on Khamzat Chimaev? It seems like he wants middleweight as his next fight. Are we looking at him versus the upper echelon? He was a top contender at welterweight.
Yeah, he'll fight at middleweight, yeah. And yes, I mean, he's in a position where he should be fighting, top 3 guys in the world.
Ever since Chimaev's commanding win over former champion Robert Whittaker at UFC 308, fans and analysts alike have considered him the next logical challenger for the middleweight belt. With Du Plessis having successfully defended his title in dominant fashion against Sean Strickland at UFC 312, the South African champion has solidified his position at the top. The stage seems perfectly set for a showdown between 2 of the most dangerous forces in the division.
Maru, who should be next? Should it be Khamzat? Should it be Nasruddin, who just beat Izzy? Or how about a super fight with Champ Pereira?
Nasruddin definitely has made a great case for himself, but I have to say Khamzat Chimaev is just that name that we've been hearing for the last decade, that everyone just kind of, they want to see him get that shot.
Kamaru, who wins that fight?
Very intriguing fight, because Khamzat Chimaev is probably one of the most difficult people to deal with in that first round. You can't make it to round 2 or 3 if you don't get past 1. So it's a tough one. I think Khamzat Chimaev has the tools to reach.
The timing of Chimaev's post, simple as it may be, couldn't be more impactful. The phrase "good news" went viral almost immediately, with fans interpreting it as a subtle but clear confirmation that the title fight with Du Plessis is set for UFC 317. Responses ranged from celebratory to skeptical, with some fans praising the matchup as inevitable and others questioning if Chimaev has resolved past visa complications that previously interfered with his ability to fight in the United States.
I saw Khamzat Chimaev today got his UAE passport. There have been some questions about his being able to enter the United States. Do you think this new passport will help it out?
Don't listen to him. Well, he'll get in the United States.
And then
I'm very confident that
do you know a guy?
I'm very confident that we can get him into the country.
But those concerns seem to be a thing of the past now. With recent political changes, particularly Donald Trump's return to office, it's believed that Chimaev no longer faces any major hurdles when it comes to entering the US to compete. That alone clears the path for this potential showdown to finally materialize. Fans who have long wanted to see Chimaev tested at the highest level now have reason to believe the wait is over.
Yeah, I think Khamzat is an incredible fighter, but you're fighting in the top 5 of the UFC. Everybody's incredible fighters. Khamzat is an absolute animal, absolutely. But I mean, you look at the Gilbert Burns fight, which you could have scored either way. You look at the Kamaru Usman fight, and you go, yeah, he did beat Robert Whittaker, but obviously his teeth broke back. It's unfortunate. He is really good. So, deserving of a title shot 100% after that performance. It's just an idea that I'm running by. John Jones is the only current American UFC champion, right?
Yep.
So now you have to ask your question. UFC is a massive American company.
Mm-hmm.
Is that...
Oh, 170... Who's 170 champ? That's Bilal Muhammad. Yeah,
Bilal.
you're kind of right. Yeah, I think it's the...
I can't believe you just said, who is the 170 champ? Oh, that's the best here.
I love Bilal Muhammad. I love it.
Adding even more fuel to the fire, Darren Till, Chimaev's longtime friend and former UFC fighter, shared a cryptic message of his own that has only added to the anticipation. Till, who once fought Du Plessis himself, hinted on Instagram that Chimaev is getting ready to secure the belt, signaling that training is already in motion. According to Till, Chimaev will be heading back to the UAE after the fight, reinforcing speculation that his preparations are not only serious, but also potentially in their final stages. Even Dana White, who is usually tight-lipped when it comes to unannounced fights, couldn't resist hinting at the matchup. Following UFC 314 in Miami, White teased reporters with a smirk, suggesting that a big reveal for UFC 317 was imminent. He specifically said Tuesday, implying that the official announcement is just around the corner. This was all fans needed to lose their minds, and Chimaev's subsequent tweet added rocket fuel to the fire.
I imagine this has to be discussed on Tuesday, but it would feel like Dricus Khamzat is a pretty big fight that you guys could put on right now.
Yeah. We'll talk about it on Tuesday, though.
The idea of Du Plessis versus Chimaev isn't just exciting because of the belts involved, it's the clash of styles and personalities that makes this matchup a potential classic. On one side, Du Plessis is known for his grit, unorthodox movement, and relentless pace. He's been steadily rising through the ranks, with big wins and a growing fan base backing him. He sees this fight as an opportunity to cement his legacy, not just as a champion, but as one of the greatest to ever compete in the middleweight division.
Ariel, absolutely. I'm not celebrating being the third best middleweight, the third longest winning streak. Absolutely not. I am number one, and that's what I'm going for. I never doubted myself for one single day. There wasn't a fight, there wasn't a time I've ever doubted it. And I knew there was work to be done. I knew I had big shoes to fill. Guys like a great Anderson Silva is one of my heroes in all sports. So I am not oblivious to the fact that how big these shoes are, but I have never for one day stood up when I woke up and thought, I can't pull this. I know I will. That's what I'm after, and that's what I'm going for, the legacy of being the greatest to ever do this.
On the other hand, Chimaev is the undefeated juggernaut who has bulldozed nearly every opponent in his path. Known for his ferocity and overwhelming pressure, he's made a name for himself with highlight reel finishes and trash talk that rivals anyone on the roster. His last fight, a brutal submission victory over Whitaker, left fans stunned and established him as the true #1 contender. The injuries Whitaker sustained, reportedly including a broken jaw and dislodged teeth, served as a grim reminder of just how dangerous Chimaev can be.
We recently saw Dricus defend his belt in Australia. Khamzat will be next in line for him. Who do you favor in that fight?
And I actually really like Dricus right now, the way he's looking. He doesn't really stay on the center line. His striking and the stance switch really supports him in the rest of the takedown defense. Because as long as you don't sit right in front of a guy consistently, it's hard to get a hold of the legs and shoot on. He's also very big and strong, so I think he can challenge the strength of Chimaev in the first 2 rounds, which a lot of people haven't been able to rival. But I will say I think it might be the toughest fight of his career so far.
Despite Chimaev's undefeated streak and dominant performances, many in the MMA community believe Du Plessis could be the man to hand him his first loss. The South African has already proven himself in battles with top contenders, and he's shown time and again that he can go the distance and thrive in deep waters. Du Plessis recently spoke about the potential matchup, acknowledging that while Chimaev is a dangerous opponent, he doesn't buy into the hype.
Dricus Du Plessis. But when you're looking at the guys he fought stylistically, right? He hasn't fought a guy who trying to take him down yet. It's all been strikers. His last two, it's Adesanya and Strickland. Like when he fought Brunson was killing him the first couple rounds. Yeah. And he just gassed. You know, we've seen him get taken down by Brunson. We've seen him get taken down by Whitaker. He's gotten taken down by a guy so easily. That's why I think Chimaev's going to walk through.
I know that's your boy, but Khamzat has got some of the worst cardio in the entire company.
You don't need cardio if you finish the guy in 2 minutes.
But Dricus isn't going to get finished. He's got an iron chin and an iron will.
Can Khamzat Chimaev finish Dricus Du Plessis?
During an interview with Ariel Helwani, Du Plessis shared his thoughts on a potential clash with Chimaev, noting that the fight excites him not just because of the challenge, but because of the chance to headline International Fight Week once again. It was at this same annual UFC event in 2023 where he earned a career-defining win over Robert Whitaker, and he sees this as an opportunity to build on that momentum. According to Du Plessis, once he's back from vacation, he's ready to talk dates and start preparing for war.
Hard to deal with in the beginning of a fight, but so am I. And once we get there, that's the thing. When you go that hard, in around 2, 3, 4, 5 comes, you still have to be there. And I've proven that I am there in those rounds. So that is 100% a situation where I see if he can last that long, he has to realize every round he's going to come out, I'm still going to be there like I was in the first, ready to kill. And that will never change in my game. It's just good to be fighting somebody with what people think of Khamzat as this boogeyman. People, that's a fact. I don't see that. For me, I only see one thing, and that's the potential to do good to my legacy. The potential to even make my legacy even better.
Interestingly, Du Plessis isn't the least bit intimidated by Chimaev's fearsome reputation. He pointed out that fighters like Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman were able to push through Chimaev's early storm and still make it competitive. While both ultimately lost, they exposed the fact that Chimaev isn't invincible, especially in the later rounds. Du Plessis plans to exploit this vulnerability by dragging the fight deep and forcing Chimaev to fight outside of his comfort zone.
Some opponents, but I mean, if you look at the guys that he's fought, obviously the situation with Rob Whitaker was, that was big ups to Khamzat. He is an incredible fighter. He did what he did to Rob. Rob's teeth were already a problem, and that happened. It is what it is. But if you look at a guy like Kamaru Usman, what he did with Khamzat on 10 days' notice, you look at a Gilbert Burns, those guys don't get intimidated by people screaming, I smash, on the microphone off the missing weight. That is not how it works. Guys like Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman, and Robert Whitaker don't get intimidated by that. So no, he went in there and he fought. And once again, in those fights, with Gilbert and Usman, we saw him. We saw what those guys were able to do. And those were smaller guys.
Du Plessis believes that the longer the fight goes, the more it plays into his hands. While Chimaev is known for explosive starts and aggressive first rounds, Du Plessis prides himself on being a pressure fighter who only gets stronger as the rounds go on. He has openly questioned whether Chimaev can maintain his pace over 5 rounds, something the Chechen star hasn't truly been tested on. If the fight goes the distance, Du Plessis believes he'll have the edge.
You know, as of right now, that is the big thing, is taking this vacation. You know, I'm here for the week, and then I'll be ready to make that decision. Get back to the gym and speak to my team, and then ultimately make the decision. Will we be ready for a date like that? Because that would be incredible if that's possible. I mean, International Fight Week's amazing. I've been lucky enough to fight on International Fight Week a couple of times. So to headline it will be something special, and I don't believe that. I don't believe at this level there's any intimidation. I don't believe it.
Meanwhile, Colby Covington has thrown in his own predictions, adding more fire to the hype. He believes UFC 317 could also feature Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria in what he called a sick fight for the lightweight title. But it's the potential co-main event between Du Plessis and Chimaev that really grabbed attention. According to Covington, the UFC loves to stack its International Fight Week cards, and this one is shaping up to be absolutely massive.
Now, Khamzat DDP, who do you think wins that bout?
I think DDP gets it done. I think his unorthodox style will surprise him. Hopefully, I think he's strong enough to fend off the takedowns, and Khamzat's never been in a 5-round fight, so, you know, I think Khamzat, I think Khamzat gets beaten up.
Yeah, that's one thing you got a lot of experience in, is going 5 rounds. And people don't realize how much of a tactical difference it is pacing yourself for 5 rounds. And if Khamzat comes out there the way he does, pedal to the metal, and DDP weathers the storm for the first 2 rounds, I think DDP might take over.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, DDP's strong enough to fend off the takedowns, or maybe he gets taken down, but he has good jiu-jitsu, so he keeps his chin tucked and he gets back to his feet, and then Khamzat's going to be tired. Khamzat gassed in that Gilbert Burns fight, and and that was only 3 rounds, so an extra 2 rounds, championship rounds, I think DDP gets Khamzat out of there.
All signs suggest that UFC 317 will deliver on all fronts, and if Chimaev's cryptic message is anything to go by, the wheels are already in motion. His camp appears locked in. His longtime training partner Darren Till is rallying behind him. Dana White is teasing an announcement, and Du Plessis, he's waiting patiently, ready to step into the spotlight once again and defend what's his. At this point, fans aren't just hoping. It feels like a matter of time before the UFC officially confirms one of the most hyped matchups of the year. So what are your thoughts about this fight? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.